This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube, the daily wrestling news update. But I'm going to start this off by the most interesting news of the day and the most interesting thing in wrestling right now is not something on the current TV products. It's Bret Hart's latest controversies that Booker T is calling him out on now. I've met Booker T, interviewed him two times. Once when he was getting an award at the Dan Gable Hall of Fame in Iowa, once when he's getting an award at the Cauliflower Alley Club. I've met him backstage in the early 2000s when I was a WWE extra. Always a nice guy. Got no issues with him. Bret Hart, I was trained by his brothers, and I'm friends with the Hart family. The one experience I had with Bret involved him no-showing an event I put on with him, so it wasn't the greatest experience in the world. Yes, he did pay me his money back, but he didn't pay me the first-class flight that I had to buy or the limo service, and the fans were very mad at me, but I won't get into that. This is the main thing that Booker T, I guess, is telling him that he should stop saying this type of stuff. Let's listen.
And now I really have serious. I think that Sean and Vince were sleeping with each other.
So now he's publicly saying that he believes Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon had some type of sexual affair. I've heard Don Morocco alluded to me that there may have been something going on between Vince, Pat Patterson, and Pat Patterson's husband that passed away before before Pat. And then Vince, if you look at the whole series of text messages with Janelle Grant, there's a lot of homosexual stuff in there. And the whole thing with Grant is apparently he liked wrestlers and people he knew like Johnny Ace to share women that he was having sex with apparently. I mean, there's always been a lot of swapping girls around in wrestling. It's just the way it is. But Razor Ramon's also said it. Scott Hall has said that Vince McMahon has told him once when they were alone together about his first homosexual experience. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff. I'm not saying anything happened between Vince and Shawn, but Bret would not be the first to make those accusations. Where Booker T is coming out now is he's saying Bret is doing these appearances, whining still about the Goldberg kick, which, by the way, you can clearly see here he put his hands up, so he knew it was coming. He also had 10 matches after that. He also got a Lloyd's of London insurance settlement out of that, which a lot of wrestlers got, like Road Warrior Animal had one for a while, Kurt Hennig, Rick Rude had one, Nikita Koloff famously had one. A lot of wrestlers had them. Those are just off the top of my head, particularly the Minnesota guys, but I guess Bret Hart had one too. Would he still have retired if he didn't have that insurance policy? It's not like WCW was using him well. If WCW was using me like they were using Bret Hart, and I had an opportunity to take an insurance settlement and still get my contract paid out, I think I would take the insurance settlement too. But the thing is, in wrestling, just for anyone that's not a wrestler, I am a wrestler, and I was trained by Jacques Rougeau as well as Bruce Hart and Ross Hart, and I've done a bunch of camps over the years, including WWE camps and Harley race camps. And I even trained at WWE's development territory for a while. And what I was always told about kicks and stuff like this, the person giving them like a drop kick, you can't really fake a drop kick. The person's going to tell you they're going to drop kick you, and you put your hands up and you bump fast so you don't take the impact. Like they're jumping as high as they can and they're trying to kick you in the face. If you don't put your hands up, you're screwed. So the only way around it, I don't doubt Goldberg was stiff, but he does have his hands up. So how can you blame Goldberg for doing a kick where you had your hands up and you bumped? And was anything said that night? Or is this only coming out now? Another thing Booker T talked about in his rant on Bret Hart, where he's basically saying he respects Bret Hart, but stop saying this stuff because you can't take it back and you're ruining your legacy because you're coming off as just a whiner, and now you're saying. And by the way, Bret Hart has been under a WWE Legends contract since 2022. Booker T works for WWE in many ways. He has a good relationship with WWE. But he's basically just telling Bret, hey, I've been stiffed a lot too. It's part of the game. We all have been stiffed a lot. Accidents happen in wrestling. But one thing Booker T brought up is Rene Dupree had a match with Booker T where Booker T, I guess, elbowed him 20 years ago. And Dupree, who's another known whiner, is still bitching about it too. And Booker T is like, hey, you never said anything the night of. Why 20 years later you still talking about it? It's wrestling. Like, accidents happen. Get over it. And I fully agree. And Bret Hart has like a wife that's 25 years younger than him. He's a multi-millionaire. Like, give me a break. This dude is just trash. Are you talking about me? Well, thank you for watching. Bob Holly, I would like to interview, sure, but he kind of keeps keeps it on the down low these days. Bret was definitely miss you, but got paid a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a trade-off. But the whole Canadian hero crap and oh, I can't lose in Canada because I'm looked at as a hero. I will be honest, I always thought he was a good wrestler, but he was never my favorite wrestler. During that era, I think Ric Flair would have been my favorite wrestler. I was always a WCW fan. Legal steroids. I believe the only way you can get them legal in the US is through TRT. Someone agrees that the Vince Sean lovers could be true. A couple other things I want to bring up. The main thing people are talking about on Raw is Brock Lesnar slipped. He came out when he was doing his entrance and he slipped. And I have to say, I watched the clip of it and it was the most entertaining thing I've seen on Raw in a long time. Speaking of Shawn Michaels, apparently WWE got AAA, which they own now, a TV deal. And I guess Shawn Michaels is involved with the booking of AAA. If you look at the top of their poster for AAA, you have The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, who are three of the writers for AAA. I guess we're in an era now where the writers are going to be on the poster. They've got shows Unreal that show the behind the scenes stuff. The thing with me is where do we stop the line because we're saying it's fake. We have shows about it being fake. On the same YouTube channels we show real stuff and fake stuff. The line is very thin. It's hard to keep track of what's real, what's fake. That's why I think people find stuff like this more interesting. The stuff about real life feuds, because wrestling is supposed to be about feuds and violence and aggression, not about we're all friends, we all hug and we apologize when mistakes happen, and if someone has heat in the locker room, they're just a horrible person. Paul, I don't know if Rick is the greatest of all time, but he would be up there. Do I think AEW will be around in 5 years? As CM Punk said, that the cons are billionaires. It will be around as long as they want it to be around because they'll keep it around as just a tax write-off. It's dropped in popularity huge in recent years, but these guys are multi-billionaires. They pay numerous people millions and millions and millions of dollars to sit at home. They obviously don't care about the bottom line. What do I think about WWE's ticket prices increase? I think it's already started to bite them in the butt, and it's going to continue to and get worse and worse as the years go by. The business will always be around, but it will just get less and less popular. Mass transit is dead, so I can't interview him. That's the guy that New Jack had the issue with. Josh, I do not like Chris Benoit. Here's a funny thing. I posted the other day a clip of when I jokingly said to Kevin Sullivan that he was the real. I was just joking around because of the Chris Benoit conspiracy theory, where people say Kevin Sullivan was the real murderer. And someone said, "Hey, what's your heat with Chris Benoit? He killed his kid with his bare hands." And by the way, it was debunked that there was some type of mental issue with the kid. The kid was small for his age, but he was perfectly healthy. I do not like child murderers. That's my issue with Chris Benoit, the person that asked, "What is my issue with him?" And I will say one other thing. Kurt Angle recently said Chris Benoit would have been a great Canadian wrestler. I may not have been the greatest. I was like not technical. I was just kind of a brawler in amateur wrestling. But I was an Olympic trials silver medalist in Greco-Roman. And I was at one point in time a freestyle national champion. There is steroid testing in amateur wrestling. Chris Benoit would not have passed the steroid test. So, yes, if a juiced and jacked up Chris Benoit ever did amateur wrestling, he might stand a chance, but I never heard of him doing any actual amateur wrestling. But to say that Chris Benoit would be great when there's steroid testing, I don't know about that. Interview Michael Hearn. I do not know who that is. Kurt Angle has aged a lot these days. I actually saw a picture of him recently. He has aged hugely. William has met superstar Billy Graham many times in Philadelphia and New York. He was like a grandfather figure to me. Truly, truly loved him and cared about him. And his loss was huge to me. But let me know what you guys think. To me, what Booker T is saying, let's go back. Let's just wrap this up here about Booker T. What he's saying, Bret Hart should just let his legacy speak for itself and not do any more interviews. This was said in an interview where he's being paid, and I believe it's in Montreal, to speak in front of an audience. What, is he supposed to turn down money? And if he believes it, let him. Free speech is free speech. I say if he can speak whatever he wants. If WWE doesn't like what he's saying, because Shawn Michaels is an executive there, he makes over $1 million a year. They can release him. They can release him. It'll be interesting to see. He is basically saying Shawn Michaels was gay with Vince McMahon, and Shawn Michaels is an executive. Maybe he's trying to get fired. Who knows? Did I interview Mike O'Hearn? Yes. I did watch American Gladiators. I wasn't a huge fan, but Darren McBee, who played Malibu, is in my Blood Hunter Thirst and Rage movie. He played Petrov. AEW is one of the worst products in the history of wrestling. I agree. I fully agree. It's horrible. Hope everyone has a great afternoon.